Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Now, don't get me wrong, yes, this is my honest review of the game, but please be advised that I will be giving my honest opinions about this and also be talking about the other Call of Duty games for examples. So, please understand that, and I hope you enjoy the video. Now, we are going to be going in different parts of this, and also I am going to make this as not as long as possible, but try to make it as more entertaining for all of you guys, if you get what I'm saying. But we are going to go Chapter 1, the campaign, Chapter 2, multiplayer, Chapter 3, zombies, and the last chapter, or well, it's not really a chapter, it's my final thoughts on the game and giving my final rankings on it. So, I hope you guys enjoy this video. So, the campaign. Now, by the way, I'm not saying the campaign is all going to be bad. I'm going to be saying it right now. I enjoyed it more than MW23. Mainly with MW23's lackluster campaign. I honestly feel like BO6 does a way better job of his campaign a little bit. But when we get to, like, later down in the road, it doesn't feel like, ugh. Like, the story went from being good to being eh. That's what I'm trying to say to you all. Is mainly because, one, the story feels like it was rushed, and, like, I'm just saying it straight up, it feels like it was rushed. Mainly because of how it really was with its post-launch story. And I'll get that into a bit, but the campaign itself, I think it was good gameplay wise. It's pretty fucking fun to play, but when you get into like the story aspects of BO6's story, the beginning missions were fun, but when it got down to like, I think it was like straight after hunting season and the cradle and emergence, it was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what? Like, seriously, that's what the story felt like, honestly. Like, that's what it really felt like. But then again, I do believe BO6 was gonna be good. It probably was, but I feel like a lot of things were probably rushed out to the last minute. Mainly with its last Call of Duty missions. Now, don't get me wrong, I do feel like the campaign was pretty good, like I said. But my favorite missions out of all of them were Bishop Takes Rook, Blood Feud, Most Wanted, and Emergence. Now, don't get me wrong, yes, I know Hunting Season was a better open world combat mission. Or, well, open combat mission. It was a better version of MW3's version of it, but it's boring. Like, literally, it's not really that boring, but it makes me fall asleep when I replay it. Like, that's how fucking bad I don't like it. But then again, people are like, what about MW23's? How bad was that? I mean, I'll even admit, when I first played Hunting Season, it was a better version. But here's the thing, though. If you want to get the achievement, you have to complete all the tasks and collect all the supply boxes and complete all the tasks in that campaign. And that's how really awful it is. Like, literally. But it's not that awful for, like, BO6. Because, honestly, I don't think that was really the worst. Like, I think if I remember correctly, this campaign, like, Hunting Season was not a bad open combat mission, but that was the only one they did. And I think Triarch and Raven wanted to do an open world, which they kind of did with some of their missions that were also linear. But Hunting Season was, like, I think this open combat mission that was fully open world, but then again, that's just me. But one other thing I have to mention about BO6's campaign is the post-launch story. And people were like, oh, those don't count, oh my god. Well, they followed the campaign and its story. MW19 and Cold War did an amazing job with its post-launch story, right? Well, Vanguard, MW22, and MW23, or mainly Vanguard and MW22, was a sign that it was going to go nowhere. MW23 just like, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to do this and that, which, by far, I think MW23 Season 1 and 2 were phenomenal for post-launch story seasons, but Season 1 was like the only post-launch story we only got that made a lot of sense to MW23, right? No, it pretty much didn't. And honestly, I'll even admit with you all right here, Season 2 for MW23 was mainly going over Ghost's personality, pretty much, right? But BO6's post-launch story was dog-awfully shitty. I'm not saying like, oh, Triarch and Raven are bad. No, I'm just gonna say right now, I do believe Triarch needs to do a way better job, even Raven, or don't do it at all. Because honestly, why make a post-launch story if you're not going to continue the story after that? Like, it makes sense for BO7's story, honestly, for, like, Sev bringing up the guild and all this and that. That's what makes sense in the cutscene for BO7. That's what makes sense, and I'm honestly glad they kind of answered who kind of helped the guild a bit. Like, we don't know who made the guild, pretty much. I'm saying it's like Savati could be the one who's helping out build up the guild, pretty much. But then we got, like, when Season 1 and 2 were out with their intro cinematics, they're like, alright, what's the plan, like, pretty much. And they were meh. But when it came to, like, the story itself, yes, we're back in Avalon, but when it came to, like, Season 1 and 2, they were not that good. But when it came down to, like, Season 3, it was like, okay, we're going in the right direction, but when Season 4 came out, I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, how the fuck is Stitch back when we literally saw him die, or he got shot, pretty much? Now, apparently, Triarch did the fuck you finger and was like, nope, he's still alive. But I don't really think this to be the case. I really do think, like what Inkflusher says, if we don't see someone die, then they're pretty much still alive. That's pretty much what's been going on for the past many years, or since 2019, I believe, or 2020. I don't remember, but yeah. Now look, I do think Black Ops 6 is a good campaign. Or, well, the campaign is pretty good. I just think the narrative and the post-launch story was fucking god-awful. Like, literally, why do all this marketing about the truth lies and literally, like, do this when mainly almost all of it's not about that? Like, seriously. But I do have a few theories why this is happening. My first theory is due to the Avalon map being cancelled for Warzone because of Verdansk. They had to rush out the story last minute for the post-launch. There could have been a different story with Avalon. Like, if I remember correctly, like with Blackout 2, there was going to be a story with that, or a seasonal port story, I believe, with Cold War. If Blackout 2 was going to happen, but now Cold War had to do a fate and go into, like, use Warzone, all this and that, pretty much. But the seasonal post-launch story was pretty good. Now, as for BO6, this is different. I feel like that's one of my theories why it feels rushed is because, and was dog awful, was because due to the Warzone map of Avalon being canned, they had to change the story a bit. My second theory is, due to them making both Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7 at the same time, Treyarch probably wasn't originally going to be making BO6. They were probably originally going to make BO7 because there were leaks going around in 2022 that COD 2023 was going to be a futuristic Black Ops game where it would take place in 2035, and it would basically be the first Treyarch game in years. But then we got leaks after BO7's leaks about BO6 pretty much, which it was going to be a Gulf War game. But then again, it could be a feeling that Treyarch and Raven didn't want to make BO6. They were probably originally wanting to make BO7 and call it BO6 with probably a good story, pretty much, or post-launch story with a good campaign. And my final one is, this could be a good theory too, is that both BO6 and BO7 were going to be the same game, but some missions from 1991 were the flashback missions like Black Ops 2, and the 2035 missions were probably the main story of the game like Black Ops 2. Like I said, they were probably going into the Black Ops 2 kind of theme where they answer a few questions what happened after 1989 and questions that happened and what's the canon ending to BO2 and what happened before BO3 and 4, right? But here's the best part. Why do I feel like this campaign is like, here's what I feel like about the story of the campaign of BO6 is like, I feel like these theories are correct, but I feel like it was probably theory 2 or 3 the most that I feel like is what happened. I mean, theory 1 is also good, but that could be also a good chance too, is that all these theories could be right as well. Like, honestly, this is this is the first time that this is the first time that Treyarch has ever made a Warzone map and it wasn't used. If you all don't remember correctly, or if I don't remember correctly, Blackout 2 was going to be in Cold War, but the Blackout 2 map in Cold War was used for Outbreak. That was what it was, but again, it was rushed, so it could have just went on to Warzone. But that's my opinion, though. Now, after going over the campaign, what do I rate this? Well, the gameplay and movement in this campaign is fucking fun. So I gave those two a 10. But when it comes to the narrative, I give it more of a 5 to a 6 out of 10 to almost a 7. I would actually give it a 7 for just being lucky. Mainly because the campaign story went off pretty good until the end, and the post-launch story was like, I'm not interested in it anymore. Like, I'll even admit, and I'm bringing up Sledgehammer in here as well, if Sledgehammer or Treyarch honestly do post-launch stories, don't let them do it. At least let them actually cook some for post-launch content, and just don't let them do it. Like, just actually let Sledgehammer and Treyarch cook what they want, pretty much, and let the post-launch story cinematics be exclusive to Infinity Ward only. Because, to be fair, Infinity Ward was the ones who started it, and I feel like Activision forced both Sledgehammer and Treyarch to do those when I probably think they probably didn't want to do it. But then again, Cold War did an amazing job, but people were like, oh, Sledgehammer wrote it. Well, you gotta remember, Sledgehammer and Raven didn't know what to do with Cold War, so Treyarch was forced in to come in and rush that project out, and then for 4 years, Treyarch was working on 2 games at once of their own, and working on MW22, 23, and also Vanguard, pretty much. So, that's that. But, again, I would give the narrative a 7 out of 10, and both the gameplay and movement a 10 out of 10. Which I will actually rank this as a whole a 7.5 out of 10. That is my opinion, and you guys can disagree with me. You can hate it, you can like it, or we can just talk in the comments about it. Now, on to the second chapter. Chapter 2, the multiplayer. Oh boy, this one is going to be fucking juicy. And when I mean juicy, I mean fucking juicy. Because let's be real here, BO6's multiplayer is the most controversial most controversial multiplayer of all time. Like, from MW23 being good, BO6 at launch started pretty well, and then post-launch it went down dog water. Now, I will admit, I do have fun with BO6's multiplayer. Don't get me wrong. I have it fun on private matches only, though, with my friends. Because, honestly, it's a better version. But, let's be real here. I do think people who say, like, oh, BO6 is the worst Call of Duty of all, and this and that. It's not. I don't think the multiplayer is really that bad. I honestly do think it's skill-based matchmaking being like this. And once BO7 comes out, and once BO6 is done, who knows? Maybe that multiplayer will probably be fixed, and it's kind of like the MW22 kind of thing, where like at the beginning of MW23 it wasn't good, but it got better over post-launch, but people played MW22 that year. And like BO6, people were playing MW23 that year. It's the COD cycle every year. But for BO6's multiplayer, I actually have fun with the gameplay loop. I like some of the maps, but I really have to admit that Derelict and Rewind feel like they were made for Liberty Falls more, or mainly for Liberty Falls as a whole, than being in multiplayer. It was mainly made for zombies, which I will get to that in a minute or so, but let me be real with you all. BO6 is the multiplayer mode. It's pretty fun, right? But I feel like this mode was rushed out because of a deadline. Same as its seasonal content. But I also feel like the game itself also feels like it was made in like probably 1 to 2 years. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the campaign and multiplayer feel like they were not made in the 4 years of development. Campaign might have been. The story and multiplayer, no, it wasn't. I feel like the story and multiplayer were probably developed in like around 1 to probably 2 years. Campaign probably was made in like 3 to 4 years, but I have doubts for that being 3 to 4 years. Heck, I'll even say it right now. People are saying, oh, Black Ops 7 could have been the game that had more dev time than BO6. Yes, but let's be real here. BO6, like at start of the game's launch, it went fucking well. A lot of people liked the multiplayer, but when post-launch came out, that's when we started getting like bugs and all this and that. Like, it's when we were starting getting like god-awful bullshit, you know? Which, it's annoying enough we have to deal with bugs, but dear God almighty, like, holy shit. Like, don't get me wrong, yes, I know Treyarch doesn't communicate well after I think David Vondel left, but they at least try to listen to feedback in the community, mainly the zombies team and multiplayer team a little, but it's the zombies team who I believe listens more. But then again, things change. But anyways, I'm not going to talk a lot about multiplayer, but I will say one last thing. I do feel like the score streak spamming getting removed was an awful idea. I'll even say right now, whoever came up with that idea, or that developer who came up with that idea, needs to either reconsider that idea in BO7 and actually have streak spamming like MW23 has, or fire that developer, because
I need eyes overhead.
It was a bullshitty idea. I mean, I'm not like saying like fire them, like demote them pretty much to a lower role where they can't control a lot of shit, if you get what I'm saying. But honestly, that's me speaking that pretty much. So what do I give multiplayer? Well, I like the gameplay loop and the movement in it, so it's a 10 out of 10. But the skill-based matchmaking needs to go, and the maps, I will even say the maps also suck, which some of them do. I mean, I like some of the maps, but I'll give like the maps a 4 out of 10. Well, that's pretty much it. I pretty much would probably give multiplayer like, I'll say around a 5 out of 10 pretty much, is what I rate it. Now on to the next chapter, the last one, zombies, which this one's probably going to be a long one. Now, as for zombies, I want to make this kind of clear. This is not to hate on zombies or anything, but actually, I think this mode had the 4 years of development. But the only issue I only have was like, I think it was around like when the Tomb came out, is when the story went like downhill. And people were like, oh, didn't that happen with Citadel with its AI bullshit? Yes, that is true. But Citadel de More was actually a map that actually had a story itself. The Tomb really didn't, and it kind of showed that Activision forced Treyarch to rush BO6, Zombies, the Tomb map, or, well, the Tomb as a whole. Mainly because, 1, the story was not great, 2, the cutscene was lackluster, and 3, it just felt like it was just not really a good map. Like, the map is beautiful, don't get me wrong, and yes, I do feel like the boss is pretty fun to play in, and it's a pretty fun boss fight, don't get me wrong, but the only criticism I have over the Tomb is that the boss fight, like, the boss fight is just a piece of furniture. That's it. Nothing really interesting to me. The story in the Tomb was not really that good, and the fucking ending cutscene, it was not great. And don't even get me started about the Tomb not having the intro cinematic, same as Shattered Veil, but I have a feeling Shattered Veil's intro cinematic was used for Liberty Falls, because it was also rumored that Liberty Falls was an Outbreak map, which I will show on the screen right now. But let me just be real with you here. Do I think everything in this mode is the worst? No. I feel like this is like the only mode that feels like it was made in 4 years. But I do feel like there are some areas in the mode that feels kind of rushed as well. Like, I'm just saying, everything just feels fucking rushed, and it's just not everything, but it just felt like the Tomb was rushed. Like, everything in BO6 was okay, but when it came down to a little bit of Citadel's story and the Tomb story, it really wasn't good. But when Shattered Veil came, it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be doing this. It actually did a really good story. And now, as for the last map, Janus Towers or Shattered Veil, not Shattered Veil, but Janus Towers or The Reckoning, I will admit, I kind of feel like The Reckoning or Janus Towers would probably be a good map. But we do not know yet. I mean, we did get a teaser recently from Treyarch themselves, but that's pretty much it. But I will admit, I do have criticisms over the mode. I don't really hate the armor system. Yes, tier 1 and 2 are boring, but when it gets to tier 3, it's kind of fun. And the gold armor system in the tomb was pretty fun to use as well, but it's pretty hard to get. But one thing I have to mention is the point system. I do not like it. I do not like the new point system. I just wish it was the old one. But we do not know if that's going to happen yet. It might happen in BO7. Who knows? But let me be real with you. The only criticism I'm only going to give with this new stuff is like, at least have a mechanic that like bring both the classic and the modern system together and like mix them up a bit. Like keep the old point system, keep the salvage. But with salvage, tacticals and lethals do not change. But with the score streaks, at least make them limited. Like what we have with the self revives. Make them at least 3 at max with the quote unquote score streaks. But then I do also have to also say we could also do like a button where you can have both, where you can do modern or classic systems as well. Like why not do a button like that? Like what we have right here. Like right here in the frickin' zombies mode where you can do a squad fill. Or well, the squad fill button. I am just saying is that as well, it's pretty much that. But I also say like in the class, like you can also keep the armor system as well. I don't mind that, but if we're gonna do like classic, just at least keep it the old way it was back then. Because like with the starting room LTM, you have the classic game over music, which is from Moon, and the round change theme, which is basically the old round change theme. And honestly, I wish there was a button for that as well, because me and my friend Hunter were actually talking about it, and he even told me that he wishes there was a button in the map, or not in the map, but in the game, where you can actually change if you want to do classic round change or modern round change themes. Like, do that at least. And one other thing I should also mention to do is also add a music player. I know Brian Toohey tweeted out that he wanted to bring a music player in BO6, but I think they are going to do that with BO7 in the first place. Because I think, if I remember correctly, their first, like, not mode, but thing they brought back was feeder mode, which honestly is iconic to use and pretty fun, but that's just me. And one other thing I should mention is, at least, and I'm being serious here, at least make the music player like it used to be. Like, the music player was so fucking good. Like, please bring it back. We're begging you. But anyways, that is my opinion about zombies. I think the maps are pretty good. Yes, Liberty Falls was not really good as an aura map, but it was pretty good to set up the story, in my opinion. Terminus was pretty good as well, but I will also say this right now is like, it's kind of weird. And another thing I should also mention is that the Citadel and the Tomb feels like they were. I feel like Citadel was like the more complete than the Tomb was, because I feel like the Tomb was rushed out. And if you didn't know, no, I am not going to talk about Grief or the Abomination Challenge. The starting room was okay for me, but Grief and the Abomination Challenge, I think Grief is better than the Abomination Challenge, but Grief is still for me. But anyways, what do I have to say about Zombies? Well, I would rate it a... I would say the story is like, it's better than the campaign, honestly. Or, well, the seasonal content story we've been getting for campaign. So I would say it's a 8. 8.5. 8 to an 8.5. The gameplay, I would say it's a 7.5 because of the modern era systems, but they are improved in Cold War, I will admit there, but it's a 7.5 to an 8 for me. So the mode itself, I would honestly give it an 8.5 out of 10. Anyways, on to the last part, my final thoughts of the game. You know, on this part, I'm going to say this right now. This is my final thoughts. Honestly, the game is good, but it's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's decent for what it is. But I just feel like this game was rushed out the last minute, because I do have a theory why. It's probably because Treyarch was originally playing on, like I said earlier, Treyarch were probably originally playing BO7 to come out first, or there was another theory that both BO6 and BO7 were the same game, but they were split into 2 different games, where basically I feel like Raven had to both Treyarch and Raven had to do a lot of shit for the story for BO6 and BO7. That's basically it. But anyways, what do I rate this game out of 10? For me, it is going to be a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10 for me. Do I think it's the worst Call of Duty? No. I think it's a better Call of Duty than MW22, but it's not as great as MW23. Yes, it's the more complete Call of Duties, literally, but if I remember correctly, it's probably going to be... It's probably the most rushed Call of Duty I've ever seen. Like, yes, we have Vanguard, which was made in 9 months, but if I'm being honest here, I feel like BO6, like, campaign feels like 1 to probably 3 years of development. Multiplayer feels like 1 to 2, and Zombies feels like 3 to 4 years of development over time. But anyways, that is my honest review on Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out.